Hi there, welcome back to History of Fleetwood Mac. I'm Anita. Today we're going to continue Volume 18, Episode 3 of my Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks scrapbooks. And I do have some more Tom Petty stuff coming up from the Tom Petty shows with Stevie Nicks being a guest. And we're going to skip that though until at least the next video or the one after. And we're going to get into some little side stuff that I had ready. And I'm waiting on some information. If you saw my last video, you'll understand what I'm talking about. This was some really cool stuff, a little hodgepodge of stuff that was sent to me by fans abroad. Some people had sent me some stuff from when Stevie Nicks was in Australia on tour. And just really cool to get stuff from, this was from Brisbane, I think from, no, not Auckland, it was Brisbane and Melbourne was the stuff that I got. And there's just really lots of, Stevie Nicks doesn't make it over to Australia or overseas in general much. And so it's really a big deal. She's loved worldwide. So, when she's able to go over to Europe or to Australia, places like that, it is a big deal and just so great. So, there's always lots of she's in magazines, she's in the newspapers and stuff. And again, I was able to get a lot of content, a really great picture of her. I'm not too sure. I'm sure this is abroad, but I'm not sure which show. She did a healthy amount. Gosh, I don't see. Trying to think of the different places because I do believe, like I said, that she was already able to do a show where, like I said, somebody had gotten a picture like this, a live photo. I'm pretty sure this is not something that was taken live when she was stateside before she went over there. I could be wrong, but I really do think it's something from a night because I think it was a review. Yeah, so it was something. It was, sorry about that. It's right here. Fancy that. Stevie Nicks Brisbane Entertainment Center Monday night. So it's from the Courier Mail, Brisbane 22106. So before the Tom Petty shows. Yeah, so just really cute. And then this little picture here as well. This is kind of an old session shot. And, had great things to say about her. Let's see. What does Stevie Nicks do when she leaves the stage during her shows? The first two breaks after the second and fifth songs were about 3 to 5 minutes long, while the third was near 15 minutes. Is there a Dan Brown novel she can't tear herself away from? But it talks about the costume changes and such, but it's nothing negative at all. Bringing all of her hits, still sounding good. To be fair, Nicks, whose reedy voice, while short of its former range, has held up remarkably well given her active lifestyle in the 70s and 80s. She was more consistent than she was on the 2004 Fleetwood Mac tour, so it had been a couple of years since she'd returned there, when she didn't hit some of the high notes until after a long break late in the concert. So, just some overall, views and such like that, but nothing like, oh, God, why'd she bother and like that, nothing disparaging whatsoever. So that was kind of nice. This again is a mix of a lot of ads and stuff like that. The one thing that was on the back was from Melbourne to 1806. Fleetwood Mac star Stevie Nicks had high hopes for friend Sheryl Crow's planned nuptials to Lance Armstrong. Nicks, 57, contends rock star women cannot be happy in marriage because their partners become envious. Possibly a valid point. But she was optimistic about Crow and 7-time Tour de France winner Armstrong. That dynamic, two famous people, would work better, Nicks said. But Crow and Armstrong called off their wedding plans late last month. Nicks said she chose music over men and does not regret it. Nicks performs Mac and solo hits at the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra at Rod Laver Arena tonight. So that was this little article up here. And I believe that was, again, a picture taken when I discussed Stevie showing up at the Derby. I think it's the Kentucky Derby or something like that with the horses. Great little shot of her that was new at the time. And this John Farnham guy was huge, I guess. He's really big. I had never heard of him, and I honestly still can't tell you anything, but he's quite the celebrity over there. So him showing up over there with her in concert was, I guess, a really big deal. I apologize, cannot tell you anything about the man, other than he was with Stevie Nicks on some of these dates. I would venture to say that over there, he's a bigger celebrity. I'm guessing he's, somewhere from over there. But yeah, he's a constant thing. I remember reading a lot of places, John Farnham, and then, Stevie Nicks will be there. So, but some great ads, some great, clippings, which, I love. Vanessa Carlton as well on some of the dates. So little Nessie got to go over there as well, which is pretty darn cool. I'm sure she'd been over there touring on her own, possibly at some time. I don't know that, but I would imagine so. These were some pictures taken. I'm not sure who they were taken by, but they were dated to 1906. So they were definitely, I have them dated as either Brisbane or Melbourne. I'm not sure. I'm guessing I got them online because there was only about half a dozen of them, I want to say. So these are just live shots from one of those two dates. Actually, they're dated 219, but there was only a show on 218 or 220. So it's got to be one of the two there. I'm guessing 218 because you can't post photographer, can't go in the future. What was I thinking? Of course, I would guess now they're from 218. So stupid. You'll forgive me. Smile and nod. Another great big ad for her. This, I have no idea where this came from. This was definitely bought online. I just thought it was a nice picture of her. It's from 2006. It could be on one of the Tom Petty shows. It could be a solo. Not too sure. This is a really cool article. It went with this picture, which is a duplicate. This woman, she will come and she will go for quite some time. And that went with this little article down here. And then these are the rest of the ones that I said were dated 219. So that was a little Australia mix up there, a little, some stuff from there. So that's kind of cool to have stuff from overseas. I like that. And then guess this will be much shorter than I anticipated, and I do apologize. This I showed at the Halloween time when I was showing some stuff for Halloween. This is a really cool thing that Stevie Nicks had done with Bette Midler, who used to do, I don't know that she still does, but she might, but she was doing a benefit show every year called Halloween. And I showed this. So go back and watch my my last Halloween video if you want to see more about this. It's really not much. It's just cool to have this little program that came from it and mentions Stevie on the cover and it mentions Stevie here on the inside. The rest of the stuff on there is just like, contributors and such. But what I didn't realize is that from the internet or eBay or somewhere, I had these two photos. I'm guessing that's Bette. I don't know though. It's kind of blurry. I didn't take it. And then this one, which is a bit clearer. It was really cool. I had no idea that I had photos from the Halloween show. And I did it on my little Halloween paper, which I thought was kind of cute. So that was just a little, little thing. Again, we're moving pretty far. We're kind of more back towards my Tom Petty shows because those were September. So this would have been October. But then I just took you back to February. So I'd meant to go into a little bit more of a timeline. I'm not so good at that though. And I think we're still going to go back again because we'll have the one more Tom Petty show that I'll be showing and another article. Yeah, it's going to be all over the place for 2006. That's the way it's going to be. I apologize. It's just the order of things and things that I had. So sorry, this one's a little bit shorter. I did not mean that. I guess I probably should have just added it onto the last one, but again, I was just waiting for some information and stuff. So we'll come back tomorrow. I don't know what we'll have tomorrow. Who knows? We could have the Tom Petty ones. I could go on some other tangent that goes, back to 2005. Who the hell knows with me? Thank you so much for joining me. I hope everybody has a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye.